safe streets, vibrant neighborhoods, successful business and commerce. These are things that make a healthy community. We are a diverse community, rural, suburban, urban, a multitude of languages and ethnicities, ages and experiences. We are a collaborative community. Public-private partnerships make us a model community that others want to follow. It is what makes us unique. It is what makes us strong. The employees of Kent County reflect our diversity and seek to serve our communities.
People in this county, in this area, we wrap our arms around each other. We come together to collaborate, to solve problems. We're all working for the good of the whole. And I think that's wonderful. And you can see it. You can see it as you drive around Kent County.
Our impact starts the day a baby is born and a birth certificate is issued, to protecting children from deadly diseases through vaccination, to the public safety and justice provided by law enforcement and the courts, to offering veterans services and caring for the elderly. Every day we work to keep our communities robust.
I think if you are somebody who's interested in serving your community, in building a strong knowledge base and a good group of people to work with, then the county is one of your best employment opportunities out there. It's been completely rewarding in every way I could possibly explain for 26 years, and I feel like I grow every single day still today.
Leading these dedicated employees, our 19-member Board of Commissioners and our County Administrator Controller, along with our elected officials and appointed department directors, placing emphasis on civic involvement, quality housing, vibrant neighborhoods, and strong, solid infrastructure to allow businesses to thrive. Professional, dedicated, collaborative, and innovative.
Behind the scenes, collaboration between foundations, charitable organizations, nonprofits, for-profit businesses, public sector demonstrated through the county, the city of Grand Rapids, the townships, all the cities and the villages in our area. If we don't come together, then we will not have the strength that we have today, and I only hope to build upon that.
Our aim is to make our communities the best they can be. We are involved in exciting development projects, sustainable recycling programs, and creative progressive prevention programming. We partner with elected officials, impacting policy ideas that become great achievements. We seek opportunities to reach out into the community and offer our services to help our residents make Kent County thrive.
Our relationship is solid, both from a staff standpoint at the county level as well as the Board of Commissioners. And they understand what we do and the benefits that we can do for the community, and vice versa. We couldn't do what we do without the help of Kent County.
While most of us are busy running our lives, Kent County's elected officials, administrator controller, and over 1,600 employees are serving the communities where we live our lives, so we can all have a place we are proud to call home. Kent County, its life well run.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome. This is the Kent County Board of Commissioners meeting. The date is Thursday, February 25th, 2016. The time is 8:30 a.m. We'll begin today with roll call.
Commissioner Schroll.
Present.
Korndike.
Present.
Shivas.
Here.
Volkowski.
Present.
Talon.
Here.
Hennessy. Vandermolen.
Here.
Mast. Breivy.
Here.
Coleman. Voorhees. Ponstein. Steck.
Here.
Bolter.
Here.
Jones.
Here.
Morgan.
Here.
Antor.
Here.
Vonk. Chair.
Here. We will then call on Commissioner Ponstein for an invocation.
And as a good elected official, I'm going to pass the ball this morning. Commissioner Matt Coleman is going to be giving the invocation for me.
That's a good pass.
Let us pray. Our Father in heaven, we thank you for the chance to gather this morning. We pray that you would guide our decision making. We thank you that we're all here safely, and we pray for those still traveling on the roads this morning, that you would provide safety and security to them. We just thank you for the opportunity to live in this state and in this country, and we praise you and honor you for all that you give to us. And we ask that you would guide us to live up to all the blessings in our lives. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Matt and Stan. We will next move to agenda item number 5, which is public comment. Is there any public comment this morning? Okay, I see none, so we will move to the consent agenda, and I'll call on Commissioner Constein for a motion.
I move that we accept the consent agenda.
Is there support?
Support.
By Commissioner Thorndike, is it you? Okay. This is roll call vote.
Commissioner Schroll.
Yes.
Korndike.
Yes.
Shivas.
Yes.
Bulkowski.
Yes.
Talon.
Yes.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Vandermolen.
Yes.
Breeby.
Yes.
Coleman.
Yes.
Constein.
Yes.
Steck.
Yes.
Bolter.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Antor.
Yes.
Chair.
Yes. We will move then to agenda item number 7, which are our resolutions, and for the first one, I will call on Commissioner Breeby.
Yes, I'd like to move Resolution 11, Kent School Services Network Agreement.
Support.
Support by Vice Chair Schroll. Questions or comments? I see none. This is not a roll call vote, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We move to the next agenda item, or next resolution, I should say, and I call on Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 225-1612, Community Development 5-Year Consolidated Plan Community Development.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Vandermolen. Questions or comments? Commissioner Bukowski.
Just because it deals with HUD, CDBG, fiscally applicant still receives dollars from the City of Grand Rapids CDBG program, I'm going to abstain.
All right, I will note that. Any other questions or comments? I see none. This is not a roll call vote, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And we'll note the abstention by Commissioner Bukowski.
Mr. Chair.
We next move to Resolution 13. I call on Commissioner Jones again.
Thank you, Chair. I move Resolution 225-1613, the resolution authorizing the issuance of general obligation limited tax capital improvement bonds, Series 2016, from Fiscal Services.
Support.
Support by Commissioner Thorndike. Questions or comments? Commissioner Coleman.
Just a quick comment. So in the Finance Committee, I voted against issuing these bonds and made the argument of, $8.4 million in costs, just costs on the bonds. It's $1,000 a day. Commissioner Morgan pointed out that, well, the county has a very big budget, so $1,000 a day maybe isn't that big of a deal, but which is a very valid point. So I was thinking about it more, and I think just looking over a 20-year period, the term of these bonds, thinking what are the chances we'll have a recession of some kind in that period and need to scale back, at which point that $400,000 a year just to the costs of these bonds, will we wish that we had done this differently at that point when we have to go look for $400,000 in other programs? So I'm going to stick with my no vote on this.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I am seeing none. This is a roll call vote, so we will proceed.
Commissioner Schroll.
Yes.
Korndike.
Yes.
Shivas.
Yes.
Bulkowski.
Yes.
Talon.
No.
Hennessy.
Yes.
Vandermolen.
Yes.
Breeby.
Yes.
Coleman.
No.
Constein.
No.
Steck.
Yes.
Bolter.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Morgan.
Yes.
Antor.
No.
Chair.
Yes, that motion passes, and just a quick note on that, I just got a quote on, well, I've always liked the house next door to me. It just came up on a listing, and I'm actually planning to move a whole 100 feet to the south there, signed a purchase agreement, but the rates for the current, lending is just so low that, you know, I just look at that as one of the big reasons why I think now is a good time to take this action with bonds. So I'll just note that here. So we move then to the resolution number 14, and I will call on Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'd like to move Resolution 14, revisions to the Health Department fee schedule.
Support. And we have support by Commissioner Vandermolen. Questions or comments? Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. When this came to committee, I had chatted with Adam London during the question and answer period, and I just wanted to make a point that this particular resolution corrects an issue that was created, and I commended Adam for, one, recognizing the issue when it initially happened, had some very creative, innovative solutions in the interim until this has come before us. And we really did a great job, in my opinion, with having Adam leading this, working with the citizens, with business owners, in order to come to a solution, and it impacted fees for not-for-profits. So I just, again, wanted to say to the entire board and to Adam, thank you, because it impacted my district, and I'm glad we now have a solution going forward.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Yes, go ahead.
What did we last adjust any of these, any fees or, you know, this fee schedule at the health department?
Adam, can you help us out on that?
Good morning. Yes, thank you. Our last adjustment to the fee schedule was in April of last year, 15. This corrects a number of problems that we have seen in the fees that are charged to small business operations, to nonprofits, and moves the burden of some of our costs to those who are in chronic noncompliance violations, who require a lot of our time, and moves that cost burden away from some of our small business operations and our not-for-profit operations, our festivals, that sort of thing. So this really is the result of us looking at that fee schedule and asking ourselves, how can we improve service for everyone? I'll add that this is not intended to increase revenues for the health department between the environmental health and the animal shelter adjustments. So this isn't really a package to increase revenue, but rather to correct some problems that we saw with who we were charging and how much.
Okay, I appreciate that. Are we going to have more negative comments rise to the surface about the inequities or the injustice, or any, you know, are you hearing any, you know, additional negative comments on this whole thing?
I haven't heard of any. No, this is a result of us hearing some negative comments from some small nonprofits and small business folks, and us working with them through the Food Safety Council and through the Community Health Advisory Committee and other forums to find a way that we can move costs to other areas where we're actually consuming more of our time and move those costs away from those small operations. But I do expect in the future, if we hear more complaints about our fees and the way they're set up, we'll continue to listen to those, and we'll change them accordingly in the future and bring them to you.
Go ahead.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate your willingness to look at things. I'm objecting to the idea that we just keep adjusting fee schedules. It used to be that we would look at them every 2 years overall and make adjustments, and now we seem to be getting them more often, you know, within a year's time of each other. I appreciate your explanation for why this is necessary in this case, and that it at least is neutral in terms of the revenue.
Commissioner Volter?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Adam. As you guys know, I did oppose the fee increases that we did last year. However, I am supportive of this today. I really appreciate you taking the time to really adjust this and look at the needs. It is based on some complaints that we did get, and there is some adjustments made there. I do have some concerns regarding the animal shelter cuts, so hopefully we can work on that. But other than that, I will be supportive of the resolution. Thank you.
Commissioner Vandermolen?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This is just basically a comment, and I'm going to use a couple words that Adam used at the Finance Committee. It just makes sense. And oftentimes government is characterized as not caring whether anything makes sense or not. They just do it because they can do it. And so this is a this is an opportunity to look at some things and say, oh, that didn't make sense. And so I applaud you for doing that, and I think I told you to put that sign on your desk. I don't know if you've done it yet, but we just need to make sense out of stuff. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? I see none. This is not a roll call vote, so all in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We move then to agenda item number 8, which is acceptance of our 2016 legislative priorities. I will call on Commissioner Steck for a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I would move that we accept the memorandum of February 1, 2016 as the statement of our 2016 legislative priorities.
Support.
And support by Vice Chair Schroll. Any questions or comments on that? Maybe for, before we take that, any questions or comments, I would call on Vice Chair Schroll as our legislative committee chair to just maybe give a few comments on the process and everything.
Yeah, I would like to thank you, Mr. Chair. I appreciate the time that the Legislative and Human Resources Committee spent on developing these priorities this year. For the first time, I don't know that we've ever done it, we held a work session, which I thought was very productive, and it brought several issues to the fore, some of which didn't quite even make it onto legislative priorities, but it reminded us why it's good to keep those lines of communication open and to continue to move forward in serving the citizens of Kent County. So I think this is a good list of priorities here. Some things are new, some things are things that we've seen from year to year, but we'll be able to get these to our West Michigan representatives in time for them to meet up with us on March 11th for our legislative breakfast, and this will give them plenty of time to review those, and we'll continue to move forward on these. So thanks to the committee, appreciate it, appreciate all your support today.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair. Just following up as well, I think that you'll note that this statement does identify the new issues in the front, which I acknowledge is a good way of doing this, to begin to put some clarity on what issues are coming to the forefront. So that's a good way of putting it.
Okay. Commissioner Talon.
Thank you, Chair. I wasn't able to make it to the LHR meeting because I was at the NACO conference with some other commissioners and was privileged to have a conversation there with some legislative folks at MAC. And interestingly, they were interested in the 911 surcharge. And but what I also learned is that they said, do you have like a set of legislative priorities that we could see? So I just want to encourage however that communication happens to make sure that it does.
Do they have some?
Well, yeah, I know. I didn't mean it as criticism, but just for whatever reason, maybe again. Thank you.
So we usually do send them.
We do. They've had some turnover in their legislative staff, but Becky Beckler works with them on specific issues as well as county staff.
And they were very complimentary of Becky.
Okay, Commissioner Vandermolen.
We could spend a lot of time on all of these, but you know, number 4, the district court judges, that was an issue that the committee that reviewed adding another circuit court judge put on the table, and so I appreciate the fact that we're going to look at that, and that's, you know, that's something we really need to see if we can make work. It's not a huge urgent thing, but in the long term, it would be a good thing if we could consolidate some things.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Volkowski.
Yeah, just a quick question on number 3. What is our general fund contribution to CMH?
About $2.25 million.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, my comment, following up on that and everything else, is, you know, that sometimes it just feels like we're being whipsawed by our friends in Lansing, you know, that, and I always am baffled by the fact that I think everyone lives in a Michigan community and every one of our legislators lives in a Michigan county, and it doesn't seem like their actions follow that. I don't get the disconnect as they drive within that beltway, and so sometimes I'm just baffled, maybe more than sometimes. So, and the quick additional question is, the whole change in personal property tax related to businesses, how is that on our radar and making sure the reimbursement, as that gets faded out? I know the state has promised us to reimburse us, and kind of following up on Commissioner Coleman's comment about the next recession, because we live in Michigan, we know there will be a next recession, and so when does the state start paying us, be it personal property tax replacement, be it mental health, be it revenue sharing? I mean, it just, all of those pieces come together, and how much of that is at the top of our pile?
It's monitored very closely. So as the budget comes down, I know Matt Wolford will be looking at the property tax revenues. That's something that will come forward and is ongoing.
Okay. In the sense of what we would have collected and what the state's reimbursing us.
I'd have to look to see how Daryl intends to report that on. We'll get back to you.
Great, thank you.
Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. These aren't in any particular order, right? I mean, this isn't assigned by priority.
Well,
These numbers?
could I address
Yeah, go ahead.
In years past, they were listed kind of randomly, but we decided this year to put them in alphabetical order so that it sort of removes that idea of what's most urgent, so it's a little bit more objective in how it's placed on the list.
So placed alphabetically and not by priority.
Commissioner Steck.
Thank you, Chair. Just one more comment. I think that we have worked hard on identifying these and articulating these the way we'd like them stated. But of course, just adopting this doesn't make them happen, and I think it remains incumbent on all of us to be advocates for these at every opportunity we have to make these points at the state level. So just take it as a challenge to run forward with this and make sure that we do what we can to get this done.
That's a very good point. We certainly want to be communicating with our legislators on these issues. Of course, we do have the legislative breakfast coming up, and just as a quick background on that, we usually invite half of the commission to each legislative breakfast. There's at least 2 during the year. And so if you're not on the list for the one on March 11th, that means you will be on the list for the one that follows. I believe that's how you do it. So, and part of that's done to due to state requirements on open meetings and so forth. Any other questions or comments on these legislative priorities? Commissioner Coleman.
Just a quick one on the 911 surcharge transparency. So the goal there, I think, is good and something that's needed. The any and all language makes me a little hesitant, just because I could imagine some onerous and unfair ways to get access to additional information. So I imagine that as we work on that item, that we'll look for a practical and pragmatic way to do it. But just wanted to put those comments out there.
Any other comments? I see none, so we will call the question. It is not a roll call vote. All in favor of accepting the 2016 legislative priorities, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We move then to public comment, our second round of public comment. Is there any public comment? Please come forward and state your name and your address, and you have 2 minutes.
Good morning, Barb Vanderveen. I'm the West Michigan Liaison for the Secretary of State. My address is 6185 Alger, Allendale, 49401. And I'm here this morning to invite you all to 2 demonstrations that we're going to be doing at Secretary of State's offices in Kent County. And I would love for you to invite any of your local officials or friends that you know. We're going to be doing a demonstration on the My Time capabilities in the branch in Wyoming, and the branch out at Centertown Mall. I do have flyers with me that I can maybe leave with somebody. I'll leave them with Mary
Yeah,
then.
you can leave them with clerk.
I don't know if you're familiar with the My Time process, but it's new technology that allows you to go online to get in line, or you can go in the branch, get in line, do your shopping, get your car washed. We'll text or call you when your time is coming near. If you need more time, you can let us know. We're trying to get the word out about this so that more people take advantage of it. So, you know, just common sense, most people would rather not be sitting in the Secretary of State's office or standing in line when they can just go online, be in and out in 7 to 10 minutes. So, March 24 and April 26, 9:30 to 10:30. And the March one will be in the Wyoming one, and the April one will be out at Centertone Mall. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Any other public comment? Commissioner Coleman.
Just a quick comment on the My Time line. So Monday morning, I had to go to the Secretary of State to do a bunch of things. Got myself in line on my phone, said 49 minutes, continued working away at the office. 15 minutes before, drove over there, and then you're only there for like 2 minutes. It's really a fantastic innovation. I love it, and I've told a bunch of people about it, so check it out. It's awesome.
All right, good. Wow. It's like a dinner reservation.
It's a Disney Pass.
Any other public comment? I see none, so we will move to reports. Is there any reports this morning? Commissioner Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Construction is continuing out at the airport, $27 million first phase project. We've had a pretty good construction season until recently with the snow, but we are on schedule, and there are some detour signs out there, but growth is good, so we're moving.
Thank you. Good. Any other reports? Jim, you don't have anything? You usually do. All right.
Still recovering.
All right, very good.
How can he compete with the airport?
Yeah, well, that is true. Any miscellaneous? Commissioner Antor.
Thank you, Chair. Just got to get on my soapbox here for a minute and talk about something that's been in the news recently. Channel 8 broke a story about the problems at the Veterans Home. And I can tell you, they weren't the only station working on that. All the stations were working on it. Channel 8 happened to beat everybody to the punch. But the unwillingness of care providers down there to provide the very basic of needs for our veterans, it just makes me ill. This investigation has been going on for a while, but they cut it off short because they found so much so quickly. And it's not lack of funding. You're going to read about lack of funding. It has nothing to do with that. I spent a lot of time down there over the last several years since my dad's been there. It's a culture that permeates that building and probably similar places across the nation where less is more. We're talking about, if you go down to the Veterans Home, you'll see guys out in the wheelchairs out front, smiling, joking around with you, a great bunch of guys. But it's a big building. You walk back into the bowels of that place and see how some of these guys are treated or not being treated, and it makes you ill. And one of the problems is there's a disconnect between what the state considers care and what to do for these guys and what we as human beings do, because there's ways around this. Anytime you do a capital improvement project down at the Veterans Home or do anything for quality of life, you have to go through the state of Michigan. If they need right now they need a new solarium to be rebuilt. That place should have been demolished years and years ago. They can't get it built because of the cost, because it has to go through the state. We have partners, we have businesses, we have people that do the entire project, and we have the funding in place. We can't get it done because it has to go through the state. They have to take their cut. I'm going to be reaching out to all of my fellow commissioners with some guidelines and talking points so we can work on the legislature to craft some sort of language that will allow us, specifically for our Veterans Home here in Kent County, to do an end around the state, to get the things that they need under the same criteria. You still have to follow the same rules of engagement and so forth, get the proper permits, but we can do it for pennies on the dollar. And it's really frustrating. I'm working with my local legislators right now. They're frustrated too. It's going to take a change in culture. But when you're reading about this stuff, don't automatically assume it's lack of money. It isn't. It's mismanagement, and it's permeating throughout the entire country. And there's going to be a lot more coming out of this. I would really appreciate some support, though, from my fellow commissioners, and take my word for it, or go down and visit the place. And don't just walk through the front doors, through the hallway. Get into the back of the place and look around and see what's going on. Because I'll stake my reputation on what I'm telling you is true. And if anybody thinks it's not, then let's go, we'll take a tour. Thank you.
Thank you, and I did immediately think of you when I heard that story break and all the work that you are doing, and appreciate the comments and the work that you're doing on that. Vice Chair Schroll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. The Community Health Advisory Committee meeting will be held this afternoon from noon to 2 at the Health Department. We have a pretty full agenda. We're going to be talking about the Health Department's strategic plan for the next several years, and also going over again the Community Health Improvement Plan, which has been a work in process over the past several years. So you're all invited to attend from 12 to 2, and we always have lunch, so that's my selling point. Our meetings lately have been very informative, so we've decided to increase the number that we're holding per year. We've typically had 4, but now we're going to start having 6 because of the wealth of information that's out there and making sure it gets out to our community partners. Thanks.
Thank you. Commissioner Reedy.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to thank the staff at the Ford Airport. My son recently took a tour with his class of 5-year-olds, and they did a fantastic job from seeing the fire equipment that's out there and also the snow removal equipment. If you can imagine, 5-year-olds, they really love that kind of stuff. And the airport staff just did a wonderful job explaining things and taking good care of these kids. So it was definitely well received and they loved it. So I appreciate their attention to detail and taking care of the kids.
Very good. Commissioner Ponstein.
Thank you, Chair Salfeld. I wanted to thank Tom for his passion about veterans. I think it's a perfect example where local units work far better than any state or federal unit. It's just amazing me because, these problems have been ongoing for years, and hopefully we can finally get some resolve, and hopefully our legislators can finally sink some teeth into this. I was at the NACO conference with Commissioner Talon. Just a couple brief things quick. Some really good news, it seems like. Whether you were a Democrat or Republican, from the White House or from Congress, they all agree on one thing. Nothing's going to get done for the rest of the year. So I think maybe we can count our blessings that government at that level works better when it doesn't work. However, there was some little bright light where they think there is strong bipartisan support is on criminal justice reform. It'll be interesting to see where that goes in an election year. The other thing is I sit on the steering committee, the Environment, Energy, and Land, which is a committee that's just dominated by Western states. The Department of Energy came in and did a presentation on the EECBG, which was the energy efficiency grants, which have now been expired. The speaker did mention that a lot of counties and locals that got grants for that picked the low-hanging fruit, like changing light bulbs. It was nice to see that Kent County was highlighted by the energy. They highlighted 2 projects. Our geothermal that we put in at the jail was something they thought was very innovative and a little bit out of the box. So I wanted to thank staff that was involved, but not just the staffs, the architects that worked on that, the engineers, and the willingness and the openness of our county to put in, and people may not like to say it, it is an alternative energy source, and it was nice to see of all the counties that they could have picked, they highlighted ours. So thank you.
Very good. Thanks for that report. Commissioner Morgan.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Chair. I just wanted to mention that we had a meeting out at the airport yesterday, and the parking ramp was completely full. There wasn't a space to be had. That's a huge revenue source for us, and it sure makes me feel a lot better since I signed the $117 million bond to build it. But it was full, and it's being used. So.
Did you co-sign it or
No.
sign it?
I was nervous enough just signing it.
Yeah.
Very good. Commissioner Jones.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to add, for me, it was great to see the public comment part of our agenda be utilized at the end of our meeting. And I would like to thank Barbara for coming out. I thought that information was interesting and helpful, and I will be grabbing additional information to go further with it. So thank you.
Very good. Commissioner Bolter.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Two quick things. I want to back up Commissioner Antor on the Veterans Home. On a positive note, this is something I've followed as well for a long time. I think due to the previous audit that Representative McGregor had requested that corrections had still not been made, this audit then will shed some further light on that. So I think that's a good first step, and things are going to start really improving there, so that's a positive thing. I also want to introduce my most enthusiastic supporter here today, Hayden Bolter, who due to a snow day got to play commissioner for a little bit, so please welcome him. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, welcome. I didn't catch his name.
Hayden.
Hayden, very welcome to our Board of Commissioners. I take it you had no public comment. Any other miscellaneous? I see none, so we have one other item to cover. You always see the pictures of the past chairs ring the
the portrait hanging on the wall.
Ring our gallery. And,
Dan's turn.
My understanding is, well, there was some thought after Commissioner Morgan had been chair that they wanted to hang him. Being able to do that, they did the next best thing and hang his portrait. But in all seriousness, our current Board of Commissioners started in 1970. We used to have a Board of Supervisors before that, which had all the various supervisors from the townships and the cities in it, and they converted under state law to the Board of Commissioner model in 1970. And since then, starting with John Brewer is the first picture over there. They've been adding the chairs to the list or along the wall after they have finished their service. Now I see we've got room for maybe 2 or 3 more chairs, and then we're going to have to disband. But for right now, we're still in good shape. So. One other thing that has happened in the past 15 years, the chairs have been selecting portrait locations that are reflective of a particular project that occurred during their term. For example, Steve Heacock, right there by the television set, worked diligently towards the opening of the Millennium Park, and Roger Morgan led the way for the consolidated 63rd District Court, which is in the background of his picture, and along with his, I think he donated his truck at that time too.
They have something that was attractive in the picture.
So with that background, I have the honor of presiding over the final agenda item on today's meeting, and that is the unveiling of former Chair Dan Korndike's portrait. As we all know, Dan served as board chair from 2013 through 2015. He has a long history of civic involvement on a number of boards and committees, and he's led the board through many important projects and major events, but perhaps he will most be remembered for his work with the Gerald R. Ford International Airport transition to an authority, which will be official later this year. So with that, I'm honored to present the official Kent County Board of Commissioner portrait of our colleague and former chair, Dan Korndike. Dan, join me on the Hall of Fame.
That's awesome. Is it?
I've seen it. It's really colorful.
Is it? Have you seen it?
Ready?
Is that photo That's a photo chop.
It's not.
It's crooked.
It's straight. Yeah, you gotta even it out.
Straighten it out.
There it goes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Very nice.
It's not photoshopped. I was actually on Concourse B, standing in front of a window with the airplanes. There was a couple of airplanes behind me, so that's not photoshopped. I was actually
That's
standing
cool.
on the concourse.
Wow.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody here for voting for me for board chair for 3 years, and also for the other 6 commissioners who were on those boards that have moved on. And I appreciate it very much, and I look at all the board chairs here, and actually I've served with 7 of them, 8 if I include myself. So I consider myself very fortunate, and looking forward to the future, though. Just, everyone sort of questions me, Dan, are you done now? I have filed, and I am running for another 2 years on this Board of Commissioners to help the team, so thank you very much.
Nice.
All right, thank you. Thank you for those years of service. Great picture. So with that, I'll call for an adjournment from Commissioner Ponstein.
I move adjournment of the meeting.
Support.
through the call.
All right. All in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, we are adjourned.
I am Kent County. I am Kent County.
I am Kent County.
We are 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 Kent County.
Bayard, Kent County. Ami, Kent County. Somos, Kent County.
Mas Ira, Kent County.
We are Kent County.
We are Kent County. We are Kent County. Oh yeah.